don't
This
think we even have a
conference will now
quorum
be
yet.
recorded.
Okay. Call to order. I don't think we have a quorum just yet, although we might. I guess there's 5 of us.
You
Who's
have me?
missing? Dale Mitchell is missing.
And he's going to join us, so.
Okay, Holly, I would like a roll call in the minutes. So Mike Zidell is here. Dan Olson is here. Trisha. Me and you. Dan's here. And then we have a guest named Paul Roberts, but now he's disappeared.
Sharon, I think Dale is there. Dale, are
Do you
you the
hear-
caller?
Do I have my audio on?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't
Do you
see
have
your-
a video on as well?
I called in on my phone. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Dale. Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Thank you.
Okay, where is Paul Roberts? Paul Roberts, are you still in attendance?
I am here in attendance. I'll just be a silent observer.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So we have a quorum. So I call the meeting to order. Are there any other guests on this meeting site? Okay. Let's approve the minutes. Did you all see the minutes that were presented as an email attachment from Peggy Gibson? Are there any additions or corrections? All right, the minutes are,
I move we approve them.
I don't think we need a motion because there's, you mean to accept the minutes? No,
Yes.
they're just accepted as read. Okay. Josh isn't here yet for the city council report. So we could come back to that later when he joins us. So Jan, why don't you do the library director's report?
He's in now.
Josh is there.
Josh,
Okay.
I'm here if you wanted me.
Well, do you want to give us a brief city council report? I hear you approved your budget recently.
I would love to. Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead then. You're on the agenda.
Great. So council did approve the FY21 operating budget. Total operating budget for the year is approximately $38 million. Within that project, we still have the library expansion, city hall expansion, and the town square undergrounding and beautification project. We are working all these projects simultaneously. City council is waiting for information from Preston Jackman on the lot that is adjacent to the previous lot that the city purchased, which is adjacent to the POA lot. Once we can acquire that lot, which is across from the library, we can go ahead and move forward with the undergrounding of the electric. So that's a big step. Once we complete the undergrounding of the electric, we can redo the entire parking lot and add the landscaping plan that we've all talked about and seen some of the pictures. So that's a crazy exciting project for us.
Okay.
So all those are tied in together. We're hoping to get those moving sooner rather than later. In terms of the library expansion project, we have architectural completed. Now we'll wait for the consultant to come back and then give us the particulars so that we can complete mechanical and electrical design plans. And then we'll be ready to put that out to bid, and hopefully we'll receive a great number of quality bids.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for Josh?
I have
All right.
one.
Go ahead.
What does it mean architectural is completed?
Madam Chairman, so what happened the other day, or what happened in this process, we took it from the design build project that we were going to have originally, where the contractor would pay for the design. The city's doing the design prior to, and then we'll just come out, we'll go to bid for construction. The architect, which is the firm of Danzy and Davis, have completed the overall architectural design for the exterior of the buildings. And then the only thing left, yeah, right there, you can see on the screen, on Sharon's screen, you can see that design. That's the exterior. The finalization will be coming back to the interior.
And that's what we're here to discuss today. We'll be discussing the interior design.
May I ask a question, Josh? On the exterior design, the picture we have shows the entire thing having a flat roof. Is that correct?
Okay. Please ask that question again. The audio wasn't clear.
Oh. So the architecture's design shows the building being a flat roof, except for the middle section. Is the library going to be a flat roof?
I don't think so.
It's hard, I can't tell from the.
This is,
There's an option A and an option B.
Yeah, the plan is it'll have a pitch to it.
Oh, it will?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, that's what I want to know.
I think option B doesn't, you don't see the pitch through because the page isn't large enough.
That is correct.
Yeah. This is, it ran out of room. The difference here is in the city hall entryways and windows.
Right.
That, the new building that we're getting is the same in both drawings, but the city council hallway office, that has a different look. And we're not here to discuss the city's portion of it today. We're more concerned with the interior space as presented in these colorful drawings. But before we go on to that, anything else for Josh? Josh, are you going to stay with us in case more questions come about?
Yes, ma'am. I'll be right here.
All right.
John?
Then,
Josh, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Back in when we had the January drawing by Danskin Davis, I think that was something with preliminary. The lineup of the City Hall and the library edition was not back even with the current City Hall building. In the current layout, you have moved the City Hall portion back to the back wall of the existing Longa Vista City Hall. Previously, you repeated that we could not move it back because of right-of-way and other issues, but now you have moved the City Hall portion back. Can we also have the new library edition be all the way back to that back line as well?
Yeah, so Mitch,
excuse me just 1 minute. Trisha, you're coughing and doing some, mute your mic when you're, please. Thank you. Okay, sorry, go on, Dale, I'm sorry.
So, Madam Chairman, the City Hall function in our layout has always been to be, I guess, adjacent to how the existing council chambers is located. So we've always wanted to have it on the back. The final plan, once we go to construction, may be impacted due to stormwater management, but the goal is to have it shifted all the way to the back line currently out how City Hall's sitting now, and then to have the library expansion be on the same back line as the City Hall expansion. So we want both of those to be pushed back, so we're leaving that area up front.
That's great. I commented on that once back at a city council meeting back in January timeframe, that leaves more courtyard space for us to have up in front.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All righty. Anything else for Josh? Before we go on to Jan Steele's Library Director's Report. All right, Jan, you're up. Jan?
Yes,
Jan?
yes, takes just a second, Sharon, hang on. Okay, got it. First of all, I included in the packet the statistics for the library attendance, for the number of programs, material collection, as I do each year. And so you all have a copy of that, and you'll notice we're having pretty good numbers till April when we had to close the doors for a week, and then, well, actually close the doors for a while. But the numbers, as we have reopened the library, the numbers are picking back up, and we are having, I think, one day last week we had 75 people come in. So it's people are using the library,
Wow.
and you know we're staying pretty busy here. But does anyone have any questions about the statistics that I sent on the spreadsheet?
Nope.
And I always love this figure here on the amount saved by patrons, which is figured by our database, the catalog database. Our local patrons saved $287,694 last year by checking out books here and not having to purchase them themselves. So I like that.
It's an impressive figure.
Yeah, I like the fact that it shows that. And then I just wanted to let you guys keep you up to date on how we reopened. You know, the first week of the virus when the city closed down, we closed the doors completely for a week, you know, no service at all. And everybody was working from home. I came up here and worked by myself because I had an annual report to finish and some things I wanted to kind of declutter around my office and things like that. But the following week, we opened up with just PJ and I temporarily, and we did a curb service delivery for people that wanted to check something out, but we didn't allow anyone in. We also made copies and faxes for people. We just would meet them in the courtyard and then come in and do it for them. And then in June, I think it was the 15th, we opened our doors back up to the public with a number of restrictions. And most libraries are calling this a grab and go service, where it kind of goes against everything we love as libraries, but it was the way to keep safe, was to just come in, find what you want, and then leave. You know, don't sit around and hang out. We didn't want a crowd of people. We wanted to have a limited number of people here, and you had to wear a mask to come in. We have, and you still have to. We have a hand sanitizer when you walk in. If you use that helps with the possibility of spreading germs. And then from our 8 public computers, we left only 3 of them open and had them spaced out. And in order to keep the keyboards sanitary, there was no way to clean those keyboards after each person with all the grooves and indentations in them. And we discovered that the plastic bags that your newspapers are delivered in fit the keyboard perfectly. And I was able to find those online. I got like 1,000 for $10. And the little Ziploc bags, the smallest snack bags, would cover the mouse. And so as much as we hate using all this plastic, every time someone comes in to use the computer, we strip the bag, and they leave, we strip the bags off, put new ones on, you know, wipe the chairs, wipe everything down.
Oh
So
my
we're
God.
doing a lot of wiping. But it's worked so far. And we have a lot of people needing computer services for printing, searching for jobs, filing for unemployment, trying to get voter information. So we've been told a number of times people have thanked us for being open for that service. They didn't know where else they were going to go. So I'm glad we were able to do that. We removed the furniture in the children's area. We didn't leave the little table. We moved the tables and chairs out, all the toys, because we didn't want kids, you know how kids are, putting things in their mouth and wipe your nose and touch the table. You know, we were trying to keep the kids safe, so we had to do that. We quarantine the returned items when books or movies, excuse me, audiobooks are returned. They are quarantined for at least 72 hours, and that's what we're using the meeting room for right now. And that's working well so far. And so we don't when something comes back to us, we're not passing it on to the next person for at least 72 hours. And that was kind of suggested by the American Library Association as a safe period of time. We are still providing curbside service. We have a few people who would prefer not to come in. And if they let us know what they want, or if they send us something they want us to print for them, we'll take it out. We'll do that and take it out to their car for them or into the courtyard. We are not having any on-site meetings. As I said, the meeting room's being used to quarantine items. And we do have a few programs that are having virtual meetings. Christina's keeping the genealogy meeting going on, and she's doing lots of genealogy research and things like that. We have the couple of book clubs that are meeting, and Rachel and PJ are doing a Wednesday morning kind of a quick story time on Facebook Live. There are some issues with reading books and keeping them recorded. The publishers each have their own policies as far as that. So we try to respect that and read a book and then have it taken down so that we're not violating any copyright laws. What else? Christina is not able to work at this time, so PJ and I are the only two full-time people here. And then Rachel is coming in at least 3 days, sometimes a few extra hours a week to help us. Christina has a compromised immune system, so she's working from home, but she's doing our newsletter for us. She's doing research on grants, things like that. I try to send her things that she can help me with, so she's managing to stay busy too. And so that's our updates on the coronavirus reopening.
I'm
Yes,
curious about volunteers. Do you have volunteers enough to staff the place?
No, we have only about 5 volunteers that are able to come in. And so they come in as often as they can. And so we have volunteer help, but nothing like we had before. So sometimes we have to cover it ourselves. Like PJ goes to lunch. If it's just the 2 of us, I work the front desk till she gets back and vice versa. But it's working so far. And we may start trying to recruit a few new volunteers. And we're also not taking any teen volunteers. We decided during this period of time with the teens going to school, and we just decided the safest thing was just to keep it as the adults right now temporarily and see how it goes, see how the COVID statistics go. But we miss the volunteers, we miss the teens. We have a lot of parents bringing the kids in. So as far as wearing masks, we've only had one person tell us that it's her right not to wear a mask. And Rachel very nicely told her that if they don't, we'll have to close our doors. This is the only way we feel safe to do this. And then she was very nice about it, and she apologized when she left that she had complained about it. So far everybody's being very agreeable with it. And we're doing this for ourselves, but we're doing this to keep others safe. I mean, that's our primary goal. And so that's how it's going. We are doing okay. And it's not the way we like doing business, but it's working for now. Anybody have any questions about that? Holly?
When the Friends bought the new computers for the library, it had to be upgraded to Windows 10. How's that going with the patrons? I'm sure that was a little bit of a change for some of them.
No problem so far. We have, whoever's up front has to help a good bit, a little bit, but it's not been bad. everything's running pretty smoothly. Few little differences, you know, and we all have to relearn things.
Does anyone else have something for Jan? Anyone
Yes.
else have a question for Jan?
I had a couple of other things too. Oh, sorry.
Dale, was that you?
I just
Anybody
want to make,
else?
yes, I would like to make a comment that I'm very impressed, of course, as always, with this library staff and the volunteers for keeping the library active during this time frame. They're almost up to what I would call over 50% capacity over what normalcy was before. And we certainly do commend them on all the efforts they've made for keeping this an active part of the community.
Thank you.
Trisha? Trish, did you have something? Oh, you're, okay, I gotcha. Okay, moving right along, we're gonna have the Friends of the Library report
Sharon.
given to,
Sharon, hold on. Two more things. Hold on. I wasn't quite finished. Just quickly, just to let you know too, the TechShare program has resumed during the COVID-19. The state library took the TechShare down because libraries were closed and they didn't want us sharing books back and forth between libraries, and they would suspended the TechShare card program, which you know is very popular in Lago Vista, but they have reopened that too. So if any of your friends ask about that, it's on and going again. And then the last thing on there I just wanted to mention was that we did get our state accreditation again this year for the next fiscal year with the state library. And so we're in good graces with them, and we're eligible to apply for grants and things like that. So now I'm done.
now I have a question. Are you still discouraging people from donating to a potential book sale that is not on the calendar?
Good question, because this came up this morning. Once we reopened, we started taking book donations again, but we are talking about stopping again because it's building up so much. We're going to run out of storage space, and we're trying, this will be a Friends of the Library issue, as Holly will mention, but we've talked about how the Friends can try to raise some funds and maybe get some of these books sold, maybe through emails or online some way. So for the time being, we are accepting them, but we are considering stopping anything that's maybe older than 2 years old that we could use on the shelves.
Thank you. Anybody else? Holly, you're up. Friends of the Library report, please.
All right, this is an easy report. Unfortunately, there have been no meetings at all. As Jan mentioned, there's been a few offline discussions about trying to do some kind of a book sale. There's been suggestions about maybe trying to do them at the farmer's market. The Friends of the Library has not met in person to talk about the logistics of any of this. Frankly, I'm not very optimistic that any of that would work. A lot of the people who typically volunteer at the library are the same people who are active with the Friends of the Library. I'm one of them. And I still am extremely uncomfortable around being people in public. Too many people don't wear masks or don't wear masks correctly. And I have immune system issues. So I would like to see the Friends Board get back together again. We've got some technology challenges with our board. So it's kind of hard to do virtual meetings, but I would like to see us get up and going again and see if we can't come up with some strategies to start raising money. You're muted, Sharon.
I know, okay. Thank you, Holly. There's no end in sight from what we have got no target dates, nothing like that, so. All right, that is pretty much all the reports, unless someone else would like to add something, anything. Otherwise, we're going to move on to old business, which of course is the library expansion. Let's do it. Okay.
Public comments.
Pardon?
Paul
We
had a
need to
question
take public comments.
or comment.
Texas Open Meetings Act, public comments.
Okay. Are there any public comments?
Thank you.
Reintroduce yourself too, please.
Sure. As you can see there on the bottom of the screen, my name is Paul Roberts under my picture. I
see you.
recognize, I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't see you at all.
Oh, do you have the app filtered to view everyone?
No,
Can anybody else not see me?
I don't see you. Anybody
I see Paul.
see Paul Roberts?
I see
Raise your
Paul.
hand if you do not see me.
At the top of the screen, there's a thing that says view everyone, and you can click on that. You should have that. If you don't have it,
I don't on an iPad. I do not. I can just see 6 at a time. And I'm on an
Okay.
iPad.
I am,
Well,
okay, I am,
I see
iPad.
everyone, and that's okay.
Okay, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's no problem at all, Sharon. Well, first, let me just say thank you very much for what all of y'all are doing, volunteering and taking care of our library. And especially, I've especially enjoyed as a citizen with 3 young children, seeing the volunteers come forward and read the books, the story time that y'all have done. And I want to encourage you to keep doing that. I think it's really good and it's important for our community that you keep that up. Even if your viewers, you can see on those how many people have actually viewed it. It's probably not that many, but it's still there. And, you know, out of sight, out of mind. It's a really good public relations tool. And it lets people know that you guys are still here and you're still making books and knowledge and programs like that, which are geared toward the younger children available. So thank you for what you're doing in that regard. A little while ago, one of your agenda items, I don't recall which, you were talking about various things. One of them was you were looking for more volunteers. Did I understand that correctly? Adult volunteers in particular, you're staying away from the youth, correct? Okay. Have y'all reached out to the community publicly for that, asking for the volunteers? I presume the
Jan,
silence.
do you want to answer that?
Yeah, we have not, but we were just actually talking about it last week, that we were thinking some of our volunteers might come back, but we're at the point where we might need to reach out publicly again.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that'll get voiced well in the community on the various Facebook pages. You know, our city council meetings tend to have a lot of attendance, and is there a liaison? Is there a city council liaison to the library advisory board? Who is that liaison?
There will be a new one appointed in November. There currently is not.
That was Dawn?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So that person there. Okay. Well, I go to all I have been going to all the city council meetings and I participate in them, such as I'm participating in your meeting right now. So during public comments at that portion for non-agenda items, I'll mention this, and maybe, or better yet, maybe you guys could let Ed know that you're looking for volunteers, and people can start spreading that word, and you can get those positions filled as soon as possible.
Thank you.
My comment on that is very straightforward. You know, communication, getting that over there, let him talk about it during the public comments. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. You know, we've got a special call meeting today at 5 o'clock. We've got the next regular scheduled city council meeting. And even though it's a special call meeting, there's going to be a lot of people coming into this stuff, controversy or otherwise, they're going to be there. So perhaps one of you should consider showing up and during the public comments, say, hey, just want to let y'all know, library is going to be looking for volunteers soon, please spread the word. Or through Ed, make that known during the announcements portion of the council meeting. But But that's it. You guys are doing a great job, and I've always seen these on the meetings and the boards. I just wanted to show up today and just get a better feel for how you guys everything going on. So thank you again for what you're doing. You guys have a great afternoon.
Okay. Trisha, were you going to say something? Okay, your light blinks every once in a while. Jan, I think as far as volunteer recruitment goes at this time, it sounds to me like you are just waiting a little while longer. It's because I see you're going to have to train volunteers, recruit volunteers, interview volunteers. I mean, that's a very public invasion of the airport. Library. So that whole volunteer thing is your decision, the way I look at it, not a library advisory board option.
Right.
Yeah, we'll just, you can apply online and, we'll look at the applications, and if you qualify to work here, we definitely give somebody a call, so.
Okay. And as far as applying online, Mike, you and I and Peggy Gibson are at the end of our 2-year terms. So Peggy's not going to reapply for the library advisory board. So you and I need, if you wish, to go to the cities and reapply for this job. I'm assuming you want to remain on the board.
Yes, I'll do it. I guess,
Thank
is there a drop dead date or any time parameters around that? Or what I have is, I have what I did last time where I sent an application or an acknowledgement of my desire to reapply to the mayor. And that's all I have in file. So does anyone know, is that all we have to do?
Jan?
Mike, I think Sandra Barton just announced the openings for boards, and I'm sorry, I don't have the deadline today. I'll find out, or if you go on the city website, it should be on there. But I saw a reference to it last week, and I'll find out if you need me to.
I can do that. Then
Yes, so you just have to reapply.
Yeah, just reapply, use that kind of the standard form and that sort of thing. Okay, I'll follow up with that. Thanks.
And the new, we don't really renew till January. So as far as a drop dead deadline, you can probably do it as soon as you want or absolutely before the end of the year. And I think that maybe when we have a new liaison appointed after this election season, that we can speak with the liaison. We can influence that decision as well by writing to Josh and doing whatever. Okay, what else? No more public comments. I guess we should go on to the library expansion. Jan, why don't you kind of, talk to us?
Yeah, I just wanted to catch you guys up to date on what's going on. As you know that that IRA, our Gophers backed out of, are no longer the contractor. And so that's going to be rebid. But in the meantime, the drawing that you referred to earlier, that Mitch referred to, that is the newest drawing that Josh presented to us that was done by Danzy and Davis. And so now what we're able to do is now concentrate more on the interior design, since Danelle Wrightson, who is the design professional, has an idea of what it might look like. One of the changes since, I think it was it July, I think, that we met with Danelle. I can't remember exactly the date, but At that time, the top floor looked a little different. But as you see on this design, it shows balconies on the second floor. And I think that was kind of Sharon's idea as, well, it was a thought because we were trying to figure out how to keep things open, but yet control the noise and the best use of that space. And to keep it modern, we want something modern, not chopped up and antiquated looking. And so this was an idea that's popular in some of the larger libraries. So I don't know what you all think of that, but at this point, we're still not quite sure what the second floor might be used for. That's what we're trying to decide in the future when we do use that. But as of now, as far as the design of the library, the current area as well as the expanded area, kind of the major decisions here now, you know, you had the concept, the A, B, and C concepts that Danelle drew up kind of as a preliminary idea earlier. And the main thing is, do we want more of the children's area situated in that new expanded area, or should that be more of an adult area? Because the one thing that we want to keep in mind, we don't get a lot of complaints, but the main frustration is with noise, with people using the computers who are trying to maybe take an exam or take some kind of online course or just concentrate. And libraries are not quiet anymore. You know, there's a lot of activity going on. So this is one of the main things in our mind is to, however we do this, we want to make sure that people have a place to concentrate, you know, which.
Go ahead, Trish.
Okay, on the, is there going to be a front entryway both places here in the new addition as well as where the door is now? Is that what I'm seeing, that vestibule?
The main door will be in the new building, and just inside will of course be your checkout desks and stuff like that, which is not in the drawing. It looks like the other doors will always be there, but the main entrance will be the new building. You know, there's that 12 feet that got cut off of our 70 by 70 building that we've always been concerned about. And that's one of the reasons why I mentioned a balcony or a mezzanine, as we're calling it, just to add more square footage. And I don't know, I was in a library, you know, I visit libraries like all of you do, I'm sure. And you know, it was like an art gallery up there, and it was a beautiful staircase that went up to it, and it was just an idea that I threw out, and it became a part of the drawing. So I was as surprised as you might be seeing it.
So that's why I was thinking, if the main door with children's programs, about it being there, of coming into the children's area. And I also have another question. So will any of the stairs, will all of those stairs then to the second floor wait, or will they be built now?
They have to be built, but
Okay.
they will not be accessible to everyone.
Well, that's
they will be behind a locked door, because we don't want kids running up and down the stairs.
Well, that's what I wondered, because it was kind of, I couldn't tell if it was being built outside the building and that would be added on, or inside. The same thing with the elevator in B and C. Is that something that would be added as an outside of this building now? It's not taking up any space?
That's correct.
What it looks like on B and C.
Right. It's not taking up any space.
And it wouldn't be built now, but just a staircase would. Okay.
But I noticed on this recent drawing from Dan's, there's an exterior, like a fire escape out the back.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did, yes.
There'll be interior stairs and exterior stairs.
Okay.
Just to let you guys know something else, Danelle and I had talked for about an hour on the phone last week, and we discussed that the exterior, the fire stairs or the exterior stairs have to be there. And we talked about the front doors, and as it's planned now, the new entrance would be the new area. Neither of us like the double doors there. I'd like to change that to just a wide, it'll be two double doors, but not two separate doors. This shows two separate. The drawing shows two separate doors, which is a little bit awkward. We'd rather just have the one big wide door that opens up.
Okay.
The elevator was planned on the back, on the outside of the building so that it would not take up more space from the inside. What were the things that we talked about the other day, the main concern, she's going to do another couple of drawings for us, and she's going to do one, I think, maybe where the children's area would be more focused in the new one, maybe the adults in the other, but also to try to figure out how to use our current meeting room space. We're considering keeping that maybe kind of as a maker space, because, we have the kitchen there. When the people come in to do the painting classes, they have to have water, the mosaics, things like that. It requires a sink usually. And so that's already there. So maybe that would serve that purpose. It could also serve the purpose of a quiet area. So these are the things that we're trying to work out now that she has a better idea of what the overall plan would be.
Trisha, also with, one second, Holly. Trisha, also with the elevator, if we actually use that space up there, then to be ADA compliant, we're going to have an elevator
Right.
immediately, not in the future. Holly, go ahead.
A question and then a related comment. I understand the budget was approved for this next fiscal year. The question is, did they include any additional money for staffing at the library? Which leads into my comment when we make recommendations about how to lay out the library design. I really, really like the concept C where all the children's activities and teen activities are in the new building, because I imagine that's where your staff is going to be located. And those are the groups that require the most amount of monitoring. As we've seen with the COVID situation, and Sharon pointed out earlier, we don't know when this is going to start resolving. Relying on volunteer activity to supplement staff for this increased library space, we really need to think about that. So, absolutely.
Anyway, that's it.
Sharon, I can answer the first part of that if you want.
Yeah, they're all.
Okay.
Sorry, there's still some background, but
So we'll try to get everybody in a little bit.
I think that's
Okay,
Tricia.
Trisha, you need to mute again. Trisha, mute.
There we go. Okay. I think you can hear me now. So Jan did put in for the additional staffing. It was not submitted through the final approval process because the structure's more than likely not going to be complete before the end of the year. However, if the buildings are completed, then we'll just bring that back to council to look at staffing for the building once it comes through. So until we can get the project moving forward, it wasn't needed to be pushed for the council yet.
All right, any more?
Yeah,
Dan?
yes, I've got comments of things that Jan was talking about related to the children's room, the maker's space, and I would like to include in there the lactation room. I like to keep the children's room where it is, occupying that whole part of the building. Well, I don't know anything about lactation space, but I suspect that mothers with just small babies don't come to the library. That mothers with small babies, if they come, bring another child with them, and they end up in the children's room. My suggestion is to make space for a lactation room in the children's area. That you put a small room in there for a lactation area, put a big window in there with one-way glass. Mothers can bring their children in there. They can go in the lactation room and they can look out the window and see their children. And that, that saves some space. We don't have to have a separate lactation room out there where we need other space. That's just a suggestion for your consideration. Another one is the maker's room. We have several rooms on the drawings. That's just our scheduled talk to the workrooms. There's no specific plans for how those rooms would be used. And my suggestion is that what is currently the staff room where we bring books in to be prepared next to the meeting room, that we move the lactation or the maker's room there. And it has the advantage of having a storage room for the maker's room, which they really need a storage room. As a point, to take that out of the middle, out of the new part of the building. Those are a couple of suggestions for you to think about. The maker's room is awfully, the one shown in the drawing is way too small. It needs more space, and that would put it in the current workroom on the drawing would give it that space. It also has the advantage of an exterior door for the people that are doing workroom to come in and out with their projects. They don't have to go through the library. Just something for you to consider and how to assign your space.
Thank you. Thank
we
you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, I have one more thing we haven't talked about today, but it's been questions about what to do with the big meeting room. And I did some research on the internet, and my suggestion is that we can put soundproof room dividers in that room. The technology has greatly improved, and there's a lot of what they call acoustical panels that are used in offices and in schools and lots of places, and they really reduce the sound significantly. I would think if we made some small rooms in that current big room, the small rooms don't have to have 100% soundproofing. Like our library advisory board, if we meet in there, we sit around the table and talk. If there was a wall there and there's somebody in the room next door, they could meet and we could meet without really interfering with each other. And that would help to resolve the question about how to use that room. The acoustical walls don't have to go all the way to the ceiling. You can buy them. Standard ones are 6 feet, like they're used in hospitals, in offices, and places where people gather, and they have a lot of separate rooms. And there, I saw some as high as 8 feet, and they're portable. You can fold them up, move them out of the way, and that's something to consider for using that room. We could probably create 3 small meeting rooms in there if we use acoustical panels. So that's my other suggestion. And that's pretty much as far as I've got.
Okay. Thank you. Mike?
Well, I'm looking at the drawings, and it does. One of the questions I have is about the storage space that currently exists behind the existing meeting room. It's that uninsulated space, just used for storage. It doesn't appear to be on the drawings, and I'm not sure if there's any future consideration for using that in a different way or what.
It's on the architectural drawing. It's part of the existing library, but it's not on the renderings A, B, and C because it's just a given that it'll be there and be what it is. There's no plan to change it. Right, Jan?
Okay.
At this time, but eventually it would be really nice. It would be actually wonderful if we could get that heated and cooled, because we cannot use that as any kind of archival space. Anything sitting in that room is going to, any paper type materials is going to disintegrate after a while. But
Yeah.
hopefully in the future, we can get that heated and cooled.
Yeah, and it's already under roof. So it would be on a relative basis, it's a nominal cost to shut in that space, right? And it's a big space that could offer some real opportunity for something. That's the only thing I'm bringing it up is maybe we're missing that. And doesn't sound like, Sharon said, doesn't sound like it's been overlooked. It's just not being considered for anything other than the current use. And then the second thing is that there's three concepts here. Jan, did you have a favorite one, or as far as the interior layout of
It's
there's concept A, B, C.
the staff and I are kind of split on it. And in fact, we've each gone back and forth on it. I even contacted Denise Bortolucci, the librarian who used to work here, because, she's still very supportive of our library. And I wanted to kind of pick her brain too. So anyway, we're researching it. And that's the thing that we're going to talk to Danelle to see if she can do one of each, and let's see how we can set it up. There's concerns for both. Somebody brought up the fact that if the children's area is right there by the front door when you first walk in, do you have kids running back and forth across the automatic doors, which we're hoping to have. That was something Rachel had come up with in her years as a children's librarian. And so those are the kind of things we're looking at. So
To me,
that's why I was kind of wondering what you guys thought, and I'll get back to Danelle on, it's probably going to be a 50-50.
yeah, my thought is today I would like to hear everyone's opinion about when you enter the library, what do you want to walk into? Do you want to walk into that living room space that's all kind of, do you want to go right to the kids? Do you want to be in the adult section? I think that could be one way to narrow things down. Like for me to enter, I don't have kids, for me to enter into a children's thing is, and I'm wondering, I've been in the library a couple times since we've closed for COVID. There's no kids in there now. And it's just adults, and all the adults come with, the children come with adults. I don't know. To me, I would like it to open up into adults. Anybody else have an opinion?
I agree with you.
I agree with that. I agree. I wouldn't want to walk in, have the kids right there where I don't think it's a safe.
Okay.
It's
Absolutely.
Holly.
I agree with that. Some sort of entree area, whether you have the service desk or something other than the kids' free-for-all area, kind of thing.
It could be the living room like you mentioned. I like the living room could be a good entry.
Okay. Holly, go ahead.
All right. As someone who used to be one of their most reliable volunteers and used to spend a lot of time up there, I keep coming back to the practicality. It is difficult in the best of times to staff the library. And if you start moving children's section over to one side of the library and the staff is mainly located in another part of the library, there will be issues. So while as an adult patron, I absolutely totally agree with everyone who said it would be lovely to walk into a living room. As a volunteer who knows how hard it is in the best of times to staff the library, we are doubling the capacity of the library with the new design. We're adding a lot more functionality. And I don't think any of us want to see us lose that warm, friendly, just phenomenal atmosphere of our current library. I'm very concerned if we start putting the kids over on one side and staff on another side, and how is Jan going to manage the facility? So that's just my concern.
Okay,
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
The staff will be spread out and it won't be set up, it can't be set up like it is now because of that extra space. So there'll be a reference desk in another part, maybe in the children's area, definitely in the adult area. So staff and volunteers will be in different locations. And then also too, one of the things that we wanted was to have the children's area glassed in, which is kind of keeps them in an area. And if any of you have been here when the little ones are trying to run around everywhere and I've actually had moms chase the kids out into the courtyard trying to get them back in. So the little ones can be kind of rambunctious there. But so when you walk in, even if the children's area is there, there will still be a glassed room there. And so, but these are all comments. These are all the kind of things we want to consider. So thanks for those comments.
And I spoke to Rachel, it's been a few weeks ago, as children's librarian. Of course, she would like, you'll see on these 3 drawings that the children's section is different square footage. And of course, she would like all the square footage she can get. I don't think she's on this call today to state her things. It seems like with the washrooms, I'm looking at concept A, the washrooms that connect the city hall, that is the way it goes, because they will be that size with that many stalls, just as you see them there. That cannot be reduced in size or moved elsewhere. So that's actually in the new library building's space. And there'll be doors so that people using the city hall at night can come and use the restrooms and not access the library. Does everybody understand that? And that's the same in all 3 drawings. I personally would like to see an awning, not just over the double front doors, but maybe the whole building, or that whole, what is it, 70 feet? Or at least wider than just over the doors. That just aesthetically, I think it would look nice. And then if the awning is going to be big enough, you could put tables out there and have it as a courtyard, more of a courtyard than a shaded courtyard. I think that in the city, Jan, please clarify, they are not going to put in a little kitchen, or they are? They're going to do a storage room for all their chairs, because the new city part is going to be a council chambers and meeting rooms. And of course, we think they're going to want a kitchen, but I think Josh Ray said they would not want a kitchen coffee pot area.
Yeah, I think that was Josh. It looks like there's not enough room for it. I'll have to let him answer that. But yeah, he said not in the meeting we had with Janelle the other day.
Yeah. But again, we're not here today to discuss that part of, except for the bathrooms in our space. That's about it.
Yeah.
Jan,
And I think we can have another meeting with Janelle. I didn't want to go into, use this to go into great detail, but because we are missing a couple of the design people, but we can let her know what we come up with today and get her to meet with us again too.
Dan?
Comment about the lack of the kitchen. What the only thing we do in our current kitchen is make coffee, right? We don't make any food in there. And if we had a kitchen over by City Hall, we would only use it to make coffee. We don't need a kitchen. All you need is that steel cart that you put a big coffee pot on, and you can make the coffee in the current kitchen, wheel it over there, and you can provide coffee and all that stuff for whoever's there. You don't need a kitchen.
Yeah.
No, there are programs there are times when we do need it, when we've done programs that we had lunch brought in or pizza night, or as I said, the groups that needed the sink for certain things. But the coffee pot is the thing probably that gets used the most.
And the refrigerator.
And the refrigerator,
Sink
yes,
and
because
refrigerator and the cupboard space. It seems like
Yeah.
napkins and, but well, hopefully we'll keep the kitchen at the other end where it is now with our meeting room. I'd like to see the meeting room remain where it is, used as it is, and that other parts of the new library have maker space and storage space and workroom space and quiet space, and leave that meeting room as is. My own personal opinion.
well, that's why I was thinking of if we used it for makerspace, someplace where the tables stay up all the time. That taking the tables up and down and moving the chairs is a pain in the neck because it's done how many times a day? You've all been here for different things. It's Mike, you know what it's like to set that up every time.
Yeah.
So that might give us one place to just leave certain things out, and that could be the makerspace where your tables are needed all the time. Or we're looking at all possibilities, but yeah.
There's a small classroom, like my Spanish class used to meet in the big room, and there was just 3 or 4 of us, and we had that huge room reserved every week,
Mm-hmm.
and a small classroom with 4 to 6 seating, a table, of course, that I think is a great idea for the smaller groups.
Mm-hmm.
Or study groups. Do you get kids from the schools at all? Or at one time, did you get kids in small study groups?
Once in a great while, we'll have 2 or 3 teens come in, not very often. And lately we've had a couple of younger kids come in and use together, brothers and sisters, I think, and studying together using their Wi-Fi since school started back. But one of the things Danelle mentioned too is perhaps that room could be broken up into 2 separate areas for the smaller meetings. So it's, I'll bring to you whatever she comes up with, and we'll look at it again and see what you think.
Well, tell me this. This is a library advisory board meeting, the last one of the year. Do you see our next meeting being a library design committee meeting? That's open to all the other people?
Yeah, when we have something else to bring before the committee, yeah, we could definitely have another one. Just let me know when you want to do one, or if I get more information from Danelle. That's what I was thinking after this. I told her I would get back with her on our conversation here, and then she's going to do another couple of designs now that she's got a better idea of how the overall layout's going to be. And so this will give us something else, something new or more current to look at.
Because on her copies, it says missing from the plan. And the lactation room is, of course, one of them. But there's a lot missing. Will her plan be more detailed?
These plans were done before she had a chance to come see the library too.
Right.
So she was here 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yes, yes.
Now she was able to do a few more measurements, and so she's got a better idea now of what it's like.
Right. And I think she's also spoken to Josh about meeting with Danzy and Davis, because they need to work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interior and exterior need to be together.
Yeah, they really need to have a conversation at some point so they can work out the logistics of the electrical system and things like that. So
yeah. Okay, that's the downstairs. What do you guys think about this mezzanine?
Karen?
Yes,
May I
yes.
give an
Go ahead.
opportunity to voice some of my opinions here?
Yes, of course.
Having been the liaison to the Library Advisory Board for many years before becoming mayor, we're always looking forward to expanding the library because the library is, of all the departments in the city, the one that attracts the most citizens and has the most visitors to their facilities, and also is one that is probably most heavily supported by the community with the Friends of the Library, the Women's Club, the Lions Club, all that. To me, it's a premier organization in the city that has the support of the community. So when we were looking at expansion many years ago, there was a plan kind of put in place of what things did we need in the library and all that. And then out of the clear blue sky, we were presented with having to adapt our expansion to the existing fire station that we inherited when we swapped land with the fire department. So that group back then, when Dan was there, and Don Brown, and a whole bunch of people, Peggy, they had to adapt the expansion of the library to a building that was presented by the city. And they went through that whole process on a $200,000 budget, which then they added another $20,000 for that storage building. And then at the end of the deal, the Friends of the Library gave $95,000 for outfitting that whole new thing. We were going through a process last fall, and we went through the process of saying, what are our needs in the library for expansion? And we kind of identified all those needs. And then somehow we got presented with a 2-story building that was supposed to be 70 feet by 70 feet. That was certainly not in anybody's mind that we would have a 2-story library. And, but it was presented to us as an opportunity. And I think the 2-story building, from my understanding, it did help break up a 1-story set of buildings going the entire length of the city complex. So it did break up that roof line and made it look a lot more presentable. But if you will look at how we're having to adapt to that 2-story building, which I think was somehow the plan of a metal building that was already designed and used in someplace other, we've now been working on how to adapt that building to for the library. And you talked about it already, Sharon, that we lost 12 feet by 70 feet on the front, which is an overhang for the kind of an entry, a covered entry and exit there. But now we've also lost, they moved all the restrooms into the library building and the stairwell and that hallway. So the 12 by 70 that we lost was 840 square feet. The restroom, hallway, and stairwell is 656 approximately. So we've lost about 1,500 square feet out of a total of 4,900 square feet, which is 31% of what the city on January 2nd in the write-up for the city council meeting says library expansion includes a 70-foot by 70-foot building interior build-out. So we lost 31% of what we started out with. And a lot of that is to just accommodate a building that was selected because we don't know the real reason. We would not have recommended a 2-story building, but how everything being adaptable, trying to use what was presented to us. I really kind of thought when Ira backed out and Ira was kind of connected with building this building, that maybe we would reconsider and say, instead of going forward with this building, is there a way for us to build a building that has a nice looking facade on the outside and still have the single story to operate from? I don't mean to put water on what the plans are you guys are making. You're very adaptable. You're being kind to what's presented to you. And if you want to go forward, I'm with the adapting this building. I'm just stating my disappointment in not being able to more influence how an expansion to the library could be made without having to do this adaptation. So I'll end on that note. I hope I haven't made everybody disappointed, but it just seems like we've had to be a stepchild to the city in more than one occasion and have to do what they present to us. Thank you.
Well, this is what we have. I mean, I hear your, none of us being architects, and I hear what you're saying, but I think that this is what we have today, and we should move forward from this point. I mean, I'm not dissatisfied with it. It's not exactly what we had in mind, but I think that we can make it work. I mean, that's our job, is this is what we got and we're gonna make it work. And so one of the ways to make up from that space is to have a mezzanine. And it will be completed in that it's part of the floor and all that stuff, but we haven't yet decided what to put up there. It can have workspaces, it can have maker space, it can be used in many, many different ways because it's quite a few square feet. No, I can't see it, it's too small. So, and I don't think Danelle wants, has she asked us, Jan, for how to use that extra space?
We've talked about thinking about what it could be, since as my understanding, it will not be completed at this time, but yeah, we are looking at future use, which would affect what we do on the bottom floors too. And
Right.
the thing you mentioned earlier about being in a library that they used it for displaying art and things like that as a portion of it, that's a good idea too, because we want
Sure.
to try to feature our local artists and display
One of my
things.
concerns with that mezzanine is, you know, the ceiling is now really high. And so you're going to have lighting that comes down across. The bank of front windows that you see on the drawings now will light up. There'll be a lot of light because the ceiling, just like in your homes probably, is going to be so high that all those second story windows will shine in on the whole thing. Who's trying to talk? Go ahead. Nobody? Okay, I'm hearing things.
Yes, Sharon, noise will be the thing to think about with that open too, and that's one of the things that Janelle's looking into. The acoustics.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't have to happen. It's a proposal. They can just build the building and put in the ceiling, and that whole space will be not used at all until we're ready to outfit it. You know, it'll just be the ceiling, and above there will be just storage or empty space. It will have no public access. So is that something you would like to consider?
What you're talking about currently, I mean, when it's finished, it's the first.
No, I'm saying don't add the mezzanine. You know, to me, the mezzanine was a bright idea, but it doesn't have to go in. We can just build a complete ceiling at what, 10 or 12 feet high, whatever is proper, and put in the sprinkler systems for fire retardants, and we can not use the second floor at all.
I actually kind of like this right now with the mezzanine that you know, at first
Okay.
I wondered about it. I like the modern feel that it gives it, the open feel and feel.
Okay, all right. Holly? Gonna have 2 extra staff members, one for upstairs and one for downstairs.
I'm with Dale in general, that the library, once again, is being forced to adapt its plans to fit the city's desire to beautify the area. But
Okay,
that I understand the position we're in. It is what it is. We're going to make the best of it. I don't like the second floor at all. But again, if we got to have a second floor, I like the mezzanine concept. It will be attractive, bright, modern. I would just be very cautious what we put on that second floor because of who our patrons are. I've had a 2-story or multi-level home my entire life. I'm sick of them. I don't do stairs anymore if I can avoid it. And just throwing that out there. But mezzanine would be attractive.
okay. Mike, I see you doing this.
Yeah, I agree. I think the addition of that, that was a good, very good idea. Hopefully the windows adjacent to that would be able to bring more ambient light into the building just because of it, right? I don't
Yeah.
know, I can't picture exactly how the windows are finally gonna be, but my sense is that if you have covered glass, that you can avoid the direct sunlight coming in as much as possible. The more ambient light you can get in there, the brighter and the more cheerful and all that kind of stuff the interior becomes. It's not as drab and dingy, you know. So anything you could do for that, if that upstairs, I guess you're calling it a mezzanine, right? If that's part of it, well, I think that's very positive.
Okay. Other comments? Yes.
I was going to say that several months ago, I checked with some other libraries through the CTLS group that we're in, and just asked how many libraries with comparable populations to ours, how many had a 2-story building and what are the pros and cons. And what I was told by more than one person, there were not a lot of them, but I was told by more than one that repairs are very expensive. Get kind of pricey on fixing your elevator when it goes out. And one of the librarians said that she didn't like that it kind of created in her staff, which was a little larger than ours, the us versus them on the separate floors. And I don't know, it just, I got pros and cons on both sides, but they said, they have trouble sometimes with the kids wanting to play with them, hitting the buttons and, general things like that. But for the most part, the ones that were closer to our population or even what our expanded population will be tended to be more of the 1-story buildings. Just they said it was more personable. I don't know, it's just kind of a different feeling of the 2 stories. So, and that's coming from a couple of library directors.
Yeah, okay. Trisha says you're talking.
If we're voting, I vote for the mezzanine. I think that it makes better use of space, that it's adding space, and I think it would really look nice. I like the idea.
Jan, really since the beginning, this is, your library. Holly works as a volunteer, your staff, you know what you need. And we're just here to complicate the thing, in my opinion. I really appreciate your asking our opinions. But I think when it really comes down to it, you and your staff, need to say, this needs to be here for ease and security. This has got to go here. This is, I think final decisions. We'll tell you we like a mezzanine or a bigger front porch, but I think you need to
Absolutely.
hit the nail on the head. you know?
Yeah, and we'll do that. We just wanted to
Is that-
let everybody have their say before we make a decision.
Yeah.
I appreciate your comments.
All right. Holly, what, as a volunteer, you want 2 votes?
Hey, what as a patron, I get 2 votes.
No, I don't get
Oh.
any at all. I agree with you totally, Sharon. I think Jan and her staff should have the final decision. We just all give input.
Yeah.
They've done an awesome job creating an ambiance in this community that I love, and just I support anything that we can do to keep that.
Right. And you know, this budget that is okay with our new building in it, it doesn't say that in the years to come, we can't not only get that staff member that's on hold, but to really enhance this new building, enhance the mezzanine floor, let's say. You know, I think, you know, from what I understand, the city's in such growth. Property taxes with the new homes going in, sales taxes because people are shopping here in Lago Vista. Starbucks coffee has done so well with sales tax. Dollar Store, CVS, and Lowe's Supermarket have increased our sales tax revenue by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think we can ask for more money in the future to do even more with the space.
Yeah, we'll ask for what we need, and we'll definitely have to have more staff. There's no way we'll be able to staff that with our limited staff now. And that's something Josh and I have talked about. So he knows that. It just wasn't the need at this.
Which to me impacts the staff workrooms and the staff lounges. You know, you need more space to work too. Like when I walk into the existing library, everything is out in the open, which I like, but I'll talk to one, the next one, and the next one. You know, there's no one-on-one. That's not, no one-on-one makes it sound bad. What I'm saying is, it seems like I can disrupt the whole front room, you know, and I'm sure other patrons can as well. And sometimes, you know, you come out when you hear a voice that's familiar to you because you want to send a message, or I know all the volunteers and it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, how you doing? You know, and I don't know if you want more separation between the staff or you like them all, but that's up to you.
Yeah, it'll be different because there's been at our size now, we needed to have the staff with the volunteers because the volunteer at the front desk cannot always answer the questions. But this is one of the things we're trying to fix, is how to have that personal conversations, you know, with our patrons and not bother the person sitting at the computer. So these are the kind of things that we're hoping this expansion will fix for us. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, what
Sharon,
else do you people want to talk about?
Sharon,
Do you
just to
want-
reiterate, I think
Go
you've
ahead.
done a good job of trying to make do with the mezzanine kind of concept. I really would be interested from the architect. They show on the drawing that there are only 2 support columns out in the first floor for that second floor, and whether or not they'll be able to pull that off.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see if there have to be any more support columns. So.
Okay. Boy, talk about not my job. You know, hopefully they know what they're doing. There's rooms underneath part of it, so maybe that's a support wall. I don't know, but I'm writing a note right now.
And that's another good reason for Danelle to be able to speak to the architect, because Danelle's an architect also, so she will understand that. And so she can let us know if, you know, if there's any issues, but she didn't appear to think there were.
More comments? It's 12:24. I don't know, does anybody, want to talk about concept one, ABC? Do you want to BS a little while? What do you want to do? Back to work?
Back to work.
Holly, I can see you waving. Go ahead.
One comment, we had that gentleman join the meeting and we may be doing virtual meetings again. I recommend for future agendas that we include a public comments item.
Okay.
Don't have one. And also we should probably talk about how we're going to handle public comments, because normally under open meetings, they can make comments, but I don't know necessarily that we interact when comments are made.
That's how the city council works it. You're right. People just are allowed 2 or 3 minutes. So you want to do that?
Yeah,
Just follow the city guidelines, have 3-minute comments with no response.
that would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
There was something about public participation and comment on the agenda that was sent out. But for the meeting itself, I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at that. But it addresses public participation.
Mhm.
Oh, at the bottom, like a disclaimer? I didn't print that.
It's at the beginning of the meeting.
I see what you're talking about, Mike. And we certainly didn't follow that process. So I don't know if it should be an official part of the agenda or just
Oh, yeah.
and follow that procedure.
I see. So you want to hear from people before the meeting as opposed to, okay, that's fine. I just slid right over that and ignored it. So I won't in the future.
Looks like
Okay.
somebody used the format for the city council meetings. Because if you actually read it, it talks about council in 1 or 2 places. And so they just didn't proofread it enough to adapt it to our meeting. I'm just bringing that out bringing it to your attention, that's all. Not whether it's good, bad.
Okay. Yep. Good to know. In January, after with Peggy gone, we're going to need a new, so applications will be accepted, not just for renewals, you and I, Mike, but for new people. And in January, with new people on board, we will have election of officers. So if you all want to hold a position, think about it. And it's too early to do nominations or anything, but think about it. And that meeting supposedly will be Monday, January 11th, 2001, back at the library, but to be announced is probably a better way to put it. Because I don't see any end in sight, so. And I think that Jan, after speaking with Danelle and this and that, or if she ever comes back out to visit us, or if a million things, let us know. Show us what she's got, ask us to meet. If you want me to call the meeting, just call me and I'll call a meeting. I'd be happy to.
We'll do on this trip. This was just a research trip because she had already had the virtual meeting and we're not having any big groups get together. So this is the only way it was a quick, just kind of a couple hours that she was able to come, and she's finally able to travel again, as some of the other designers are saying also. So it was intended not be a big meeting. And so that was done for a
Right.
reason, for the COVID-19.
Also, when Danelle was here, we talked about the glass opening between the new building and the old building for viewing purposes and openness and stuff, and that's all being worked out. There's options available for that wider opening with fire-resistant glass doors up to so-and-so. And we also talked about sprinkler systems that are, God, I can't remember what that was now. Josh was telling us about it, as opposed to
very-
water coming.
Yeah. Sorry. go ahead.
No.
Right.
I'm asking you, what was it with the sprinklers?
They're very expensive, first of all, and I don't know a lot about them. It is something that Danelle and I will talk about again, but they're pretty expensive.
Okay,
So
but
that's
wasn't there
I guess-
options? Weren't there options other than water?
I don't remember all the details of it, Sharon, so I hate to say anything right now, but I'll check with her again. And we can also, the architects might have some information.
There
for
was,
us.
I think it had something to do with the glass doors being opened. If it was an open wall, it would need fire system, sprinkler system. But if you can close those doors,
Mhm.
they contain the fire, so then you don't need water. But I could be wrong. I might be making this up. I don't know where I heard this.
That's what I remember. It had to
Okay.
do with the space and having a fire stop for,
Mhm.
as you described, right? And we
Yeah.
actually talked about whether or not more glass could be used as a fire stop, so you could open it up, but I'm not sure where
Right.
if that went anywhere. That was sort of a question for the architect.
Yes.
That's all
So
from
I don't
memory.
know if it's been decided yet. Yeah.
I'll get more information for you.
All right. Now, Jan, I noticed on my, the top of my screen, there's a message from the public commenter.
Mhm, I
Have you
just saw
seen
it.
that? He's asking you to send, okay. I'm gonna let you respond to that.
I'll do that.
All right. I don't know what else to do here today. Any comments, suggestions, recaps, summaries? Because I'm ready to call it to order. You guys might not see it, but I am, I'm on vacation. I'm on South Padre Island. So I am going to go back to, I got things to do.
Me too. It's a good meeting.
Going once, going twice.
All right.
All right,
Good to
all
see
right.
everybody.
Then I
Bye.
will adjourn this meeting. Bye, Trish. I want to thank everybody for coming, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks. It was good seeing everybody.
Stay safe.
Yep. Bye now.